Welcome to day three. Told you 72 hours. We are going to GSD. So we're moving on to service operations. And today is going to be one of the most impactful things, at least I'm going to say the most impactful thing, because this goes directly into producing more revenue on site today, which means this has nothing to do with backlog. This has nothing to do with prospecting. This has nothing to do with sales. This is where your service team can truly take control of the revenue that they're going to not only produce today, but they can increase it. So we're going to go through a couple different things. First off is we're going to talk about there's always more going on. So we're going to talk a lot about what's going on the roof and how we should position ourselves and really our mindset to be worth so much more than just a commodity contractor who can fix leaks. Second thing we're going to talk about is act as if and how act as if can play a major factor into your business and into your culture. And then finally, we're going to give them the option to be proactive. We're going to talk about what that means and really dive into immediate action on the jobs that your trucks are running today so we can start getting some increased revenue and adding value over cost for our customers. So first off, there's always more, right? And I'm going to start with explaining to you the buyer-seller disconnect. This is a huge, huge part of the methodology and process that happens with our customers, whether we recognize it or not. So when we talk about the buyer-seller disconnect, what I'm talking about is our customers calling us and telling us they have an issue. That is their perception. Their perception is their reality. They know they have a roof leak. Why? Because they can see it. There's water on the floor. Something has happened that has altered their world to be able to say, I have a problem and I don't have the ability to fix it. So that's their problem. They just have one problem. It's the one thing that's going on. If you just fix that one thing, my business is going to be absolutely fine and my roof is going to be absolutely fine. Well, very rarely is that the truth, but we got to think about it. That's what our customer called us for. That's what they see as the problem. And that's what they have ultimately budgeted in their head of how big is this problem? How quickly do I need it fixed? So on and so on. Now, the opposite side of this is where you and I sit in this. So we're the seller, we're the roofer, we're up on the roof. And most of the time we can find missing fasteners, popped welds, sealants, I'll go on and go on and go on, right? Clogged drains. We can find all of that stuff. And we know that when even there's a pinhole, water is getting past that membrane into the system. The question, or ultimately thing we don't know, is the time frame. So we don't know if enough water is going to get through there inside a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever it is to be able to get to that point. We're not sure. So if you think about it, we're almost fortune tellers in a way that we know where water is getting into the system. We just don't know how it's getting into the system or how long it's going to take for it to be able to make its way through one system, two systems, the decking, the insulation, maybe even the ceiling tiles, before it shows up as just a small little leak that our customer notices or a small little stain on the ceiling tile. So we need to be able to understand that because when our customer calls us, they're telling us about their perception of reality. It's our job to be able to bridge the disconnect that that roof could be half blown off and all they're doing is telling us about a little leak that they have. So we got to bridge that gap. And we'll talk a lot about that inside the training, but that's something that I want to bring up to you guys that just because your customer says, hey, I got one leak, can you take a look at the one leak? There might be more going on where we can add value and education into the mix. The second thing I want to talk about is act as if. Now, all of this will be implemented into your guys' world, but act as if means I own the situation, right? If this was my building, I'm going to act as if this was my mom's building, my grandma's building, whatever it is, and you can use this. You will use this in what I'm going to teach you today because act as if is if this was your building, would you really come down off the roof? Would you really leave that? Would you really not clean that drain? Would you really not reattach that coping that we know is flapping inside the wind? Would you really not put sealant on that if it was your building, your mom's building, your grandma's building, whoever you want to picture? Acting from a place of integrity can go so far. But too many times we miss it because we're like, well, the customer only cares about this one leak, so we're just going to fix this one leak. Well, let's act as if this was our building, would we leave? And if we wouldn't, then there's some action that we need to take. And that takes me down to the proactive versus reactive slide. Because customers most of the time are reactive because out of sight, out of mind, they don't think about it. They don't have any roof leaks. How do they know they don't have any roof leaks? Because it rained yesterday and I didn't have any stained ceiling tiles or water on my floor, which is the furthest from the truth. And as long as we continue to be a reactive contractor, someone who just goes out, fixes a leak, and says, hey, call me next time you have a leak, we're actually pushing our client to be even more reactive, saying, next time your roof fails, then I'll come out. What I'm talking about is helping our clients be proactive, giving them options to be able to proactively fix issues before they become problems inside the building. That's the first step to helping a customer become proactive. Very rarely do customers automatically just start their business and I'm going to be proactive about my roof. That is far and few between. Most of the time, there's some catastrophic failure that has occurred that has made them say, I'm never going to go through this again. I never want to do this again. And that's one of the action items that they took. Why do you think everybody has HVAC maintenance plans? Because at some point the HVAC has went out and it has been so cold or so hot they had to shut the business down. Guess what? It's never happening again. So we need to be able to provide our customer with proactive options, just like every other industry does, and to be able to give them the option. Because if they never have the option to be proactive, they'll never be proactive. So I'm going to give you guys a short little process that I want you guys to implement today, right now. I'm talking about as soon as you get off this video, these are actions that you can take. Where's your trucks are? Where are your trucks? Where are the trucks at? What jobs are they going to? Because if we're going out and we're looking, let's just say on a leak call, here's the process that I want you guys to take. Part one, identify the leak source. Common, right? We're going to do that anyway. We're going out there to fix a roof leak. Of course, they're going to identify the leak source. They're going to track it from the inside, find the exact point of water entry, get up there, and it's a cold well. They're going to hit it, right? Like, boom, perfect. Now, I don't want them to do the repair yet. Okay, so pause. Don't make repairs. What I want you to do is I want you to look in a 10 by 10 area of that. We're going to go above and beyond. We're going to start being a little bit more proactive, right? We know the decking panels can run 20 feet. So just because we fix the puncture right here doesn't mean there's not something upwind, right, that can be contributing to it. So is there any type of penetration? Is there any type of pitch pan? Is there a drain? Is there curbs? Anything that's tying into this that can use some type of proactive recommendation or proactive approach to where we can not only stop the leaks that they're having, dead hit, bullet hole, cool, right? Dead hit, puncture, open seam, whatever it is, but can we go above and beyond? So inspect a 10 by 10 area. Now, once you inspect that 10 by 10 area, here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to sell anything. I want you to educate your customer on additional deficiencies outside of what you found. Because you went up there, you found the open cold weld, right? You found the open seam. You're going to fix that open seam, and you can do it within the NTE that you have. Beautiful. What I want you guys to do is I want you to educate the customer, and I want you to start unfolding that the roof is not as perfect as your customer might see. Your customer might have more than one problem on that roof, and it's our job to be able to treat it, act as if this was our roof. So what else would we do? Would we clean out a drain? Would we fix some sealant? Would we go to some fasteners? Would we take care of some rusting metal? You guys tell me, what else are we seeing up there? Now, the 10 by 10 rule is a very simple rule to be able to use. Now, if you're in a big, wide open, it's in the middle of the field, well, we can probably go a little bit further. Maybe go to a perimeter edge, maybe look for vegetation on the side. But what are some other proactive recommendations that we can do? So this is going to take you talking to your techs. My recommendation is you say, hey, every time you get to a job today, just shoot me a call. We're not going to teach them. We're not going to build the habit inside one meeting saying, hey guys, we're going to start doing on-site upsells every single time. Nah, that's going to take time. Just have them call you. Or better yet, you call them. You figure out what time they're supposed to be on site, 10 a.m. Cool, pick the phone up and now call them. And just say, hey, what else do you see? What else is going on out there? Now, there's a whole process behind this that will teach you. And this is just a slight little sliver of the workbook that we're going to be working through. But we want to educate the customer on the issue and the additional items that we recommend being taken care of. Why? Because we're acting as if this is our roof, and this is what we would do if this was our building. It's a place of integrity. Now, what's going to happen from this is a few different things. The customer is going to have to make an immediate decision because you're on the roof. If you get off the roof, that price goes up because now you have a travel fee, right? Trip charge, whatever you want to call it, to be able to come back. So it's the cheapest work that they will ever get. Now, the other part of this is if they deny it and say, no, just fix what you found, they're taking ownership that there are additional deficiencies that could potentially be feeding back into the leaks that they're having. So if you guys ever have issues with recalls, this is a great way to be able to help you guys with recalls. One, our techs are looking far beyond just what the obvious issue is. But at the same point, he says, hey, it's still leaking out there. I know, because we found additional deficiencies within that general area that we knew could be contributing to that leak. Now, we talked to you about it on site and you asked us not to do it. So these are things, these are best practices that you guys can do immediately to be able to get revenue today. So here's the quick little snapshot of what I'm asking you to do. Find out when your trucks are arriving to each job. Set a reminder inside your phone. I don't care if it's an alarm, something like that. 10 a.m., call Bob. At 10 a.m., call Bob. Bob, what's going on? You on site? Yeah. Okay, cool. What else do you see beyond the work that you have to do out there? Once you find that, I want you to call your customer. I want you to say, hey, Bob's on site. We found it. It was an open weld. We did find a couple other things, though, beyond just that open weld that I'd like to take care of. Now, when you price it logical, right? We can get into pricing models and all that kind of different stuff, but how much time is it going to take you? How much material is going to take you? And then put your markup on it. Be real, right? Let's just get some small wins. Now, the goal from this should be under $500. Under $500. This is not made to mess your schedule up. This is not made to go back on site for 3 or 4 days. This is a simple way to be able to increase your billable revenue today. Because if it gets too big, your customer's going to say, can you throw it on a proposal and I'll look at it tomorrow or when I get back to the office? That's how you know the proposal was too big. It should slap you in the face. So simple. Yeah, just go ahead and take care of it if you're already there. These are how you make, or I should say, this is how you make small changes in every single work order. It's also how you influence the customer that they have more going on the roof than what they see. And you're now stocking the shelves to be able to say, hey, there's additional deficiencies out here that we can take care of. What I would do, let's do an inspection after we get all of this taken care of, and we can create budgets for 2026, 27, 28, so on and so on. See where I'm going? This is just the start. So real quick, I'm going to recap it again. Figure out where your trucks are. Put an alarm in your phone. Call your tech when that alarm goes off. So he's like, hey, what's going on? You there? See what else they're finding above and beyond the repairs they're doing, and educate your customer. Let them know that there's other things that are going on. Let them know that you can make repairs for X amount of dollars, and you're going to get the approval or denial in real time right there. Now, we'll talk about the rest of the training. We'll talk about what to do if they deny it, all that stuff when we go down. But this is what you're implementing today, and this is how you're making more money on your tickets today. All right, guys, go get it done. Go GSD, and we'll see you in the courses. Later.